Morning, everyone. Okay. So today we want to talk through what is the disruption that's happening in the real estate industry from a representation point of view. How can better representation change the way that assets are seen online and enables the public and business to business to transact with those assets, okay? All right. So we're going to give you some examples. We're not going to do a Q&A today and give you talk you through a few other bits and pieces. So to give you some background on myself, I'm the VP of Europe, Middle East and Africa for Matterport. I started a company called Virtual Walkthrough in 2011, and in 2016 sold that business to Matterport as they wanted to expand in Europe, Middle East and Africa. Okay? My main focus at the moment is geographic expansion across the territories, but also segment development. So a lot of our customers are in residential real estate, and we also have a lot in commercial real estate, so office leasing, but we're also moving into architecture, engineering, and construction. Okay? So those are my core focuses today. Some background on Matterport. So Matterport was also founded in 2011. They launched the first camera in 2014, and since inception, the cameras have captured over 1 million properties so far. Of the 1 million properties, they have been viewed over 500 million times, so a high view rating. We have over 30,000 customers globally. We sell cameras into over 100 markets, the majority of which are in EMEA, because we just have much more intricacy than the US office has. There's lots of countries. So over 100 countries that we sell within to, and we have four offices across the world. I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the property representation and what it's kind of looked like traditionally. So most properties started with the traditional photo. So photos were the best way to show the property, and if you go back 20 years, you might have 4 photographs showing a house. Now, customers are demanding a much, much bigger set of photographs and even lifestyle photographs today. So the beginning of the journey was with photographs, and then about 15 years ago, floor plans became an industry standard. Really, that was driven by Foxtons. About 15 years ago, Foxtons made that a standard across all of their properties, and it kind of forced the whole market forward so that they started to do floor plans as well. We have then moved on to 360 tours. 360 tours have also been in the market for a while, but if you guys remember, they would be the very traditional tour where you spun around, you were in the middle of a room, you weren't able to judge the size or anything, you were in the center, and it was a bit of a goldfish bowl effect. So virtual tours and 360 tours came into the market. And then you had fully immersive walkthroughs. So what the Matterport system is able to do with 3D is give you a fully immersive experience. Most consumers want to come into a property, commercial or residential. They want to walk in the front door, they want to judge the size and space like this, and then they want to move to the other side of that room, stand here and go, okay, I can fit my desks in here, I can fit my bed in here, whatever it might be. So you have to have that fully immersive experience, and that can really only be done with 3D, okay? The future as we see it is virtual reality. So virtual reality has been a buzzword for many years now, but virtual reality really enables you to be present inside the property. And I think the word present is the key. When you put on the headset, you can actually feel emotionally present. So you move your head and you're really judging. It's a very, very different experience to looking at the media on a screen. Okay? So we did a survey of a number of estate agents, and 86% of the estate agents that we spoke to said that competition is the highest it has ever been. 75% of home buyers felt that properties were misrepresented on the website, and I will make the assumption that everyone in this room has turned up to a property at some point in their life and went, this is not what I thought I was coming to see. So 60% of home buyers find it impossible to assess room size. That goes back to my point of, if you're in the middle of the room, you can't really judge the size. You've got to kind of walk in, stand up in a corner and go, okay, I can judge it, and then you get a a verification from the other side. So that's something that is an ongoing problem and is also very difficult to tackle with just photography that you have today. Everyone knows the techniques of, estate agents with bathrooms. They stand in the bath and they hold the camera like this, and the bathroom's huge. So 60% of home buyers find it possible to judge room sizes. So this is a piece of research we did with Foxtons when Foxtons launched Matterport with their new homes department. They found that on average, someone spends 8 minutes looking at the property before they go to view it. So they spend 8 minutes, whether it's reading the text, whether it's exploring, looking at photos, looking at a map, whatever it might be, it's 8 minutes on the page, which is actually, I thought, was much higher number than I was expecting. But an interesting bit of data point. Another issue is 49% can't tell how light a property is. And traditional photography is quite difficult with this. I think you would have seen quite often if you take a photograph, the room is the right light level, but the window is completely blown out. The window looks either completely white or the opposite. You can see out the window and the room appears very dark. So there's a lot of issues with the traditional methods of showing a property. Okay. So this is an interesting one, and we announced a partnership with a company called Roomy, which is in a beta at the moment, which enables a customer to put furniture inside of a model. So if they have their house captured, they can upload and import furniture, and it could be commercial, it could be offices and desks, or it could be residential, it could be beds and sofas. But 30% of home buyers, when they're looking at a property, aren't able to visualize where their furniture will go. Okay, so helping bridge the gap, helping the buyer, controlling their vision, helping them, visualize what it would be like to live inside that property is something we're really working towards at the moment. So property layout, so 36%, which I think is an interesting number. So in the UK, the attachment rate of floor plans to a property that's being sold is 83%. So 83% of properties that are sold today have a floor plan as well as photos. And I think it's very interesting that 36% of people still have no idea how to judge the layout of the property. Okay. So I want to move on a little bit to virtual reality and AR. So this is a great stat. So $35 billion is what they believe the industry will be in 2025. And I think the most interesting piece is this here, 2.6 billion in real estate. So it's quite a big chunk if you consider how big the VR world's going to be with gaming and other products. So we're quite a big believer in this, and it goes back to what I was saying about being present inside the property. Being emotionally present when you're doing a viewing is very different. With the Matterport system, because it is 3D, every model that we create is able to be put into VR immediately. So we actually have the largest VR content library in the world. Okay. So virtual tours, and this is just traditional virtual tours, are showing a twice as much interest for those companies who have virtual tours versus companies that don't have virtual tours. So it's quite a big impact on the business. I'm going to show you a quick video, hopefully. There we go. So a very quick tour of what the Matterport system does. So essentially, the camera is an all-in-one camera. It gives you photos, floor plans, and the virtual walkthrough. The camera is very simple to use, and we actually have it on our stand if anyone wants to come and see it afterwards. The camera gives you this as the export, so complete freedom to navigate. You can judge size, space, dimensions. There's points of interest if you want to highlight any key features. This is the camera. Camera's very easy. It takes 18 seconds to do a spin, and you just systematically move through the property, capturing that property. And it's a little bit like Tetris, how you build the building blocks up. You just build the space as you move through, and the end product comes out like this, and it gives you the full dollhouse in 3D. works on multiple devices. So you've got it on your desktop, you can put it on iPad, phone, mobile, works on almost all devices and all the VR headsets. The lovely thing as well about the camera is because it is 4K, you're able to export print-ready photographs. So if you need to put a photograph of that property inside a magazine or online, you're able to just export those straight out of the system. And schematic floor plans as well. In terms of the benefits, what's great about the business that we're in is we are digitalizing a physical asset. So for us, anything, as long as there's a physical space, it can be captured. But for the customer, for agents, you've got it for speeding up the sales cycle, pre-qualifying people before they come to see the property. Investors, it works very well for asset management, making sure that they keep tracks on their portfolio, and any kind of snagging or development they want to do. And with developers, they do it a lot for construction documentation. So being able to capture the job site as you go through. So they'll capture the job site as the screed floor goes down. And then a week later, they capture it again as the plumbing goes in. Then a week later, they capture it again as the electricity cables come in. And they build up a data set of that property as it's being built. So when they hand it over to the occupier, they can say, "Hi, occupier, this is how we built the property." The occupier can then turn up and go, "Oh, I want to put a painting here." And they can double check they're not going to go through any electricity, any piping, anything. So you can really document the construction from a snagging point of view, but also you have a historic capture, so you know any post-occupation changes aren't going to affect the building. So wanted to talk very quickly about what is the future of the industry, and the gentleman before me gave some great examples of what's changing. JLL have launched, this is in Paris, they launched a place called the Next Office, and the Next Office has given them a 10 times increase in efficiency when doing office viewings. So what this room enables them to do is they invite their customer, who is a potential tenant, to come in with any other key decision makers. They all sit here with a cup of tea, and they go through 10 different properties, or 20 or 30 different properties over the course of a couple of hours. They do a pre-selection, so they say, "I want 5,000 square feet in the 10th arrondissement in Paris, and it needs to be above ground," or whatever other requirements might be. It gives them a short list of the properties that are available. They have captured every single property in the market, whether they are representing it or not. They've captured every property. The customer can then sit down and walk through all of the properties that are available in the market, and they go and physically see them the next day. And this has given them a 10 times increase in their office leasing department. That's it from me. Thank you very much.